And just like that, we're back. Views from Section 400. Matt, Jack, and Brian in this one. Full cast, full show. I'm hyped. We're hitting the Michael of the week this week. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, all the other crazy news in the MLB. We're touching on it all, uninterrupted. Sports conversation. It's Views from Section 400. And I'm ready to go as always. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms out there from Section 400. Means a lot having those MILFs as support. Love y'all. Brian and I had some PGA bets today that we thought we were going to come right into the show. Extremely fired up about. Unfortunately for Brian, Max Homa did not finish in the top five, I think it had to be. Yep. Top five. And I had Xander Schauffele. Profit boost, plus 175. He let Rory run away with it and made it look like a junior competition out there. Rory was the man amongst boys, as you like to say. So, yeah, Brian and I got pummeled on our PGA day, so not anything to get excited about there. But we move on to next weekend when Scotty Scheffler hopefully returns. So that should be pretty interesting. But as always, winners and losers, that'll be the next show. We got Michael of the week in this one, Brian's favorite segment, so I'm going to let him go first.
Well, I will address the Max Homa top five bet before I get into my Michael of the week. You know, it didn't happen.
He's fucking garbage.
It didn't happen this week, but we have another major next week. He's coming off a great performance in the Masters. So I'm running it back next week. Max is going to get one. He's going to get one for all the homosexuals out there. It's going to happen.
Not if Scotty's playing, man.
Yeah, well, his wife is still possibly giving birth, possibly not. So who knows? Maybe she popped the baby out on Thursday, and then he misses the whole tournament.
Maybe. That would be when you nuke Max Homa. But, yeah, I mean, he's got to get one at some point. But
he will.
We'll see him wait till that happens. But get into the Michael of the week, man. I'm curious to know what you got this week.
Yeah, so baseball, I guess. Well, baseball has a lot of problems. But baseball specifically right now has an animal problem. A couple weeks ago, we saw the bees at Chase Field. And this week, in a minor league baseball game, a minor league affiliate of the Pirates, there was a turtle in the outfield. And not only the turtle in the outfield, it took them like 2 minutes to catch a turtle. A turtle. These are professional athletes trying to catch the slowest animal, mammal, whatever it is in the world. And it took them over 2 minutes to catch a turtle.
It wasn't like one of those quick ones?
No, it was just, you know, stroll in the park, stroll in the outfield, wanted to catch a baseball game, and no one could catch it.
I gotta see a video.
Rogue turtle.
No sense.
Yeah, a rogue turtle.
Like, what do you mean they couldn't catch a turtle?
It was just walking around the warning track, and they were trying to catch it, and it was deking them out.
No.
I refuse to believe that the turtle was deking anybody out.
The turtle does not have a juke move. There's no B button to spin with it. You can't just – I don't understand how they don't just walk up and pick it up.
They tried. Those things are slimy. I mean, I wouldn't want to pick up a turtle.
I got nothing for you there other than what the
yeah, well, we're seeing animals all over baseball, so I'm excited to see which one finds its way onto the outfield grass next.
Probably a cat.
Well, luckily Randy Johnson is retired, so we don't have to worry about the birds anymore. I'll go right into my Michael of the week.
Please.
It's Brian's Michael of the week. No, I'm kidding. That did surprise me, but no. What surprised me this week was I was looking through FanDuel, some betting odds here and there. Stumbled into the WNBA section, avid fan myself. They have an entire section on FanDuel in the WNBA, you know, overall bubble dedicated to Caitlin Clark. You know, it's got games, opening day special, like obviously you can bet on the championship, who you think the MVP is, rookie of the year, and then there's just like a whole section just for Caitlin Clark. And it's, you know, how well is the Fever going to do? Is she going to win Rookie of the Year? Is she going to average 30 points a game? It's all this different stuff. I mean, look, she's generational. I know that, but I can't tell you I've ever seen a LeBron James or a Steph Curry dominant player like that getting their whole entire tab to themselves.
Yeah, well, they were, I don't think FanDuel was doing it, but Bovada might have been. Back before she got drafted, there were odds for her to get drafted by the Pistons. So, like, Caitlin Clark fever is crazy. And I mean, you mentioned Rookie of the Year. I think the MVP odds are a good little sprinkle. And with the WNBA coming up on Tuesday, we're gonna have to give out a future. I don't know how serious that future will be, but we're gonna have to give one out.
Wait till the end of the show to drop that so everybody can stay tuned to see who we're hammering. I don't know. Are we gonna go collective all three or individual? I'm down to do a collective one.
Yeah, we'll put our brains together and get a collective one going.
There you go. Brains together, power thinking for WNBA future. I love it. Yeah, I'll jump into my Michael of the week, I guess. And this happened on Friday night. I'm sitting down, watching the Marlins Phillies game, enjoying my time. Nobody's in the stadium because nobody goes to Marlins games. And they pretty sure pay you to go to Marlins games. And you can $5 tickets, and it's like all you can eat food. Like they have crazy deals and discounts just to try and get somebody into the stadium and watch the game. As they were doing, I guess it was they just came back from commercial, switching, changing sides, whatever, getting the new team out there. And they're panning around the stadium. And they have the servicemen, like U.S. Marines, Coast Guard, whoever the fuck it was, in the nosebleeds, in Section 400 with nobody around. Like Miami Marlins. These are United States veterans. People lay their like you can't get them in the lower levels. There's nobody there. There's not one person in that stadium, maybe besides behind the dugout. You could at least put them in the lower level. Sure, they take up a lot of room, maybe a whole section. Nobody's at the game. You could have easily put them in the lower level. That kind of annoyed me. I'm telling you, they're up in Section 400. Nobody else in the stadium. So that thoroughly shocked me that Miami Marlins can't do our servicemen and women better justice for laying their lives on the line, protect our great nation, and they get Section 400 seats.
That just goes to show you what and why Miami Marlins don't have any fans in the stadium. I mean, if that's how they treat our service members, how do you think they treat the average fan? You know, you got to do. This is all about the fans and making it an enjoyable experience. You got to do that for them. Shout out Section 400 for housing those Marines, those service members, because somebody's got to do it. And I'm glad Section 400 did. But Miami, be better.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they're.
We'll find the silver lining here.
Oh, I have two silver linings for you. Maybe they add better seats, but they're just fans of the podcast and wanted to see what the game was like from up in Section 400. Or they put them in those, you mentioned the all-you-can-eat seats. I believe those are up in the nosebleeds. But then again, they could have just given them all-you-can-eat food and put them behind home plate.
Ryan, there was nobody in the stadium. Like, there was more Phillies fans than Marlins fans. And, like, literally the stadium was pretty much empty for Friday night. And as they pan around, these guys are up in Section 400. Sure, it's a pretty big group, but, like, they can't get these guys in the lower level? There's 3,000 people there in a 30,000-seater stadium or a 20,000-seater stadium. I don't know. I was very shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't blame people in Miami for not going to a baseball game on a Friday night. I think the Marlins are, 10-30 now? But
They're
still.
not a good team. And, right, I don't blame them. But, like, come on, Marlins. Bad luck. Get the servicemen and women in the lower level.
Yeah, I don't think too many people are going to the Marlins games. We could be going to hit the clubs or, a bar at the beach or something like that, even like the Hard Rock Casino, and maybe catch a show there. No one's going to watch a Marlins game on a Friday night down in Miami.
My one question.
The service women and women, and they're up in 400. So.
Yeah, my one question to you is, was Marlins man sitting behind home plate? Was he the reason they couldn't give the service people the behind the home plate tickets?
I don't think he was there.
Okay, well then there's no.
I don't remember seeing him. That guy only shows up to big playoff type events in his Marlins gear. I don't know that he's actually a Marlins fan.
Yeah, actually, as I'm looking at it, I have the Mets game on Sunday Night Baseball, and Marlins man is sitting behind home plate.
And there you go. So maybe he was there on Friday, but I don't remember seeing him. And he's usually hard to miss.
Oh, very hard to miss with that atrocious bright orange.
Either way, do better, Marlins. It was a shame to see all those servicemen and women way up in the nosebleeds. when there was ample amount of seating in the lower levels. So I'll jump into the NBA playoffs, which again are in full swing, coming down to the wire. The second rounds starting to take shape on teams who kind of are putting themselves with a leg up and teams who have some work to do to get out of the hole. But Nuggets Wolves series update, I guess as we're recording this, the game is going on or about to start. So we'll have a full update on that series when it goes final tonight. Unfortunately, we're recording beforehand, so we're watching before you guys are watching after the results. So yeah, Nuggets won game 3. I think the series is 2-1 with one more game in Minnesota before they go back to Denver.
Yep.
Maybe we can make some predictions real quick and see how wrong we are tomorrow.
I think that the Nuggets, even though they played awesome in game 3, they're not winning this game 4. Anthony Edwards is going to step up. Do we have an answer on if Gobert's playing or not?
Yeah, he came back in the last one.
He's playing? Okay, yeah. Gobert's there, Cat's there. Everyone's going to be there. Jaden McDaniels, the real MVP. They're going to win this game 4.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels more important to his team than Kevin Durant, according to Anthony Edwards at least. I think this is a game we see Ant-Man, as they like to call him, go off and put on the super suit and have 50-something points and lead the Timberwolves to a 3-1 commanding series lead. Jamal Murray looked a little bit better in the last game. I guess after starting that heat pack, he got all the juice back. But yeah, this feels like
I think
Anthony
he
Edwards.
looked a lot better than that game 2 game. It was horrible. So
Yeah.
he came back looking a lot better. Look, I'll be different and say the Nuggets win this one. It's a must-win for them, right? I mean, they go down 3-1. They're kind of shot, I think. So I'll be different, say the Nuggets win. They are the defending champs. I think that kind of gets swept under the rug because of all the hype around Ant Edwards and the Timberwolves right now. But the Nuggets are the defending champs. Jokic's the MVP. I got them in a must-win game for them. Obviously, they're not on the brink of elimination, but this is pretty close to a must-win game. They've already won on the road. They already shanked 2 at home. So I can totally see them basically just flipping home court advantages and heading back to Denver with a 2-2 series tie.
Yeah, Jokic, he's seeing these horse races going on. It's horse race season. Like you said, they're the defending champs. He's back in the playoffs. He's got to play for Serbia and the Olympics coming up. He misses his horses. He wants to go home.
I don't know, man. I think he wants to win.
Oh, man.
I think.
How many years until we see a Jokic horse in the Derby?
I mean, I think the Kentucky Derby is only is 2-year-olds. So essentially, he needs to have, one of his horses mate and fucking push out a racehorse.
I'm well aware of how horses get bred, but what I'm really wondering is when do we think Jokic is going to have one of his horses in the Derby?
It's going to be tough.
If you weren't time 20, I was explaining how the process works. It's the 2-year-olds. So 2 years if he has a racehorse, I don't know. He hasn't really talked about it.
It's so hard because I feel like at least in the Kentucky Derby, the majority of those horses are from Kentucky or the surrounding area, except if there's the Japanese are trying to break in now. They're trying to steal another American sport from us.
What about Rich Strike? The longest shot to ever win was a Polish horse.
Yeah, I mean, there's outliers, but it's tough. But if there's one guy that could do it, it's that guy. He loves his horses enough.
I would love to see a Jokic.
To answer your question, Jack, I have no fucking clue when I'm going to see Nikola Jokic in the fucking Derby with a horse.
I'm thinking 2 or 3 years after his retirement, we see him actually probably the year after his retirement. He probably shows up to the Derby with the full outfit on and everything. He's it's going to be his new parade, his new NBA championship.
Well, I mean, we saw Jason Worth with a horse in the most recent Derby. Didn't do too well, but he got a horse in there, and I believe he's a co-owner. But yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be hey, Jokic has a horse, get him into the Derby. I mean, they went through it, dude. The odds to qualify to get into the Derby are it's unbelievable just to get into that field of 20 or 24 horses, however many it is that race. So even once he gets the 2-year-old horse, there's a lot of qualifying involved for him to get there. Not saying that he can't do it, but I'm also saying it's not as easy as him just showing up with a horse.
Yeah, you can't play the politics there.
Jack, I'll give you 12 years. In 12 years, we'll see a Jokic horse in the Derby.
Like, because first he has to try, right? So they have to mate the horse. Then it has to be 2 years old. Then right when it hits 2, it has to go through all the qualifying. So, like, it's really, like, very complicated to get into the Derby. Like, the timing has to be, like, on point for everything. And you lose one of those qualifiers, you're done. And essentially you got to wait 2 more years because once that horse hits 3, yeah, it can still race, just not in the Kentucky Derby.
12 years.
12 years. I have no idea. I'm not even going to put an estimate on it. Back to what matters most, man. Oklahoma City Thunder down 2-1. Kyrie Irving hasn't even shown up yet. So that's a little worrisome. Are the Thunder just not experienced enough, which kind of was always my underlying concern, but I never really cared because it seemed like they were unstoppable and the pieces they had were good, but Dallas with Luke and Kyrie might just be a little well prepared, positioned. I don't know how to put around it, but OKC just doesn't seem like they have enough to close it out.
Yeah. Kyrie is like
close. They're close games.
For some reason, Kyrie, I mean, I guess there's a reason behind it. He wants to be more of a facilitator in the first half, but he just doesn't score until the third quarter hits. And they're still up 2-1 without that production. And Luka hasn't even shot the ball that well. I know he had a better game 3, but
no, who's fucking going off that team? PJ Washington.
Yeah.
Because I know you talked about guys being important to a team. That guy's fucking important to the Mavericks.
Yeah. Yeah,
8
look.
threes the other night or 7 threes the other night.
Yeah, you look at that deadline and the Mavericks got him, and the Thunder's big move was Gordon Hayward.
Who doesn't play? Maybe 15 minutes a night.
I saw him get a rebound in game 3.
Yeah, so he's a very reserve, like 12 minutes a game.
Kyrie's just Brian, to what you were saying earlier, he doesn't score until the second half. It's because that's what a veteran does. That's what a playoff veteran does. That's what a champion does. He's smart, man. You use that first half, get your other players, like your role players, involved, start facilitating the ball, get everybody's confidence up, get their jump shots going. And then, when he needs to, if the game's slipping away or second half rolls around, time to come in and dominate. And that's what he's been doing all playoffs. Luke has been looking great in this series as well. I mean, look, they're 2 of the best players in the NBA year in and year out for the past few years. So it's a lot for any team to handle. And I still have faith in the Thunder to, regroup and get it done. But a lot's going to fall on Shea's shoulders, and he's going to have to be great because Luka and Kyrie are great.
That's the thing, though. SGA's being great. He had 33 points in the game they lost. Team struggled to put up 100 points. They're just falling apart.
I'm getting kind of sick of watching Shea just ride his way to the free throw line. I need to see him hit some bigger shots, throughout the full 48 minutes of the game, not just depend on the charity stripe.
He had some pretty tough jumpers.
Yeah, all the guards in these playoffs are just doing that stupid ass slow down in the lane and then get the guy behind you to foul you.
Yeah, and look at it. Like, that's why I don't understand people rip on Embiid. Like, look at Jalen Brunson, dude. That's a free throw merchant all day long. Not complaining about it. It's part of the game. That's why I don't understand why people complain. It's fucking part of the game.
I hate when it messes with the flow of the game. When everybody gets sent to the free throw line. Just let the boys play.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that argument. That's why I'm a big East basketball fan, because those refs let the guys play. SEC, soft.
Oh.
Brian knows I'm right.
I mean, I think soft's the wrong word.
Dude, the whistles fly in SEC college.
Yeah, just because the refs aren't as good.
You about it with Auburn all the time, so I don't want to hear this.
The refs just suck. I mean, I don't think it's because they're trying to protect the players, and I think they're just bad.
They are bad, but no, that's just because I'm a outsider looking in. Big East, they let the guys play.
They do, and that's why it's the best conference tournament in all of college basketball.
Yeah. Like SEC is whistle, ACC is pretty bad with the whistles, especially if you're playing Duke or UNC. Pac-12 is just whatever. Mountain West, I guess, is kind of tough. They let them play out there.
They're soft. If you want to talk about a soft conference, the Mountain West is the softest of them all.
No, the WAC is.
Well, we're talking like big conferences here.
Yeah, that's true. Let me go down the rabbit hole quick on that. But either way, not that it's relevant in mid-May when college basketball doesn't start back up until November, but it's always good to poke around at some good fun. How do we even jump into that?
Jack was mad about SGA getting fouled all the time. I guess we could talk about another guy, though. You mentioned Brunson, and he's been awful the last couple games. That series is tied 2-2.
Dude, I thought this was going to be fucking easier than the Sixers series, but now the Knicks finally are all banged up. Like, where were these injuries against the Sixers?
You guys laid down the groundwork, but yeah, you said it. It's about the injuries, man. Brunson's banged up, even though he's playing. He's banged up. OG Anunoby's out. Micheals out. They got Precious starting for 2 games now. It's not looking good. Even if they somehow win this series, they've got to go play the Celtics, who they can beat. I mean, the Celtics just lost the home game, which we'll get into in a sec. But yeah, the Knicks, they're super banged up. I think the Pacers are going to pull this one out. I think that the injuries and the long 48 minutes a game from these guys, I think it's just catching up to them, and this is where it ends.
The Knicks will win game 5 at home, lose games. The Pacers haven't lost at home since like mid-February or mid-March, but they've won like 12 straight at home. And they, for some reason, not for some reason, obviously they're going to play better at home, but like their home versus away splits are crazy.
Yeah, well, they did just give the Knicks a 30-point loss to
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to game 7. I could see the Knicks somehow like scrapping their way to game 7, but I think there will be a time like we're talking about with all the injuries that they'll just run out of steam and then it just won't be enough. That's how I see it going. But again, you never know, dude. The Knicks have pulled crazy shit out of their ass.
Hell yeah.
The entire playoff. So we'll see what doesn't help. I mean, Thibodeau's got these guys out there 47 out of the 48 minutes. So it doesn't help when you're banged up and you're still playing the entire game. I get it. They don't really have much else to throw out there. Who are you going to throw out? The fucking Deuce guy? Give me a break.
You think he led the team in scoring today?
Yeah, and they lost.
Yeah. It was ugly. The mop-up crew for the Knicks, I think, still had to include Alec Burks, and DiVincenzo was in there way too long today just because they don't have anybody to be in there.
Yeah.
So, series tied 2-2. I think the Knicks should be able to pull that out in 7, but again, the Pacers now have the upper hand with all the injuries, and they're relatively healthy with their big 3 of Miles Turner, Halliburton, and Siakam, I guess is their big 3, which not bad. That's their big 3. They are relatively healthy. Knicks, not so much. We'll see how that goes. I think the Knicks still, again, like I said, pull it out. We'll see what happens. Pacers are not to be messed with. But, Jack, I know you kind of touched on it with the Celtics, man. Looks like we're going to see them probably steamroll the rest of the Cavs series. We thought maybe, just maybe, the Cavs had a little bit of a hope after kind of breaking home court advantage, tied it up 1-1, headed back to Cleveland, proceeded to get blown out in their return home game. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell can make games close, maybe steal a game like we saw in game 2. They're not good enough to beat it's a 7-game series for a reason. They just don't have enough. Even with Jared Allen, I think they don't have enough to win a 7-game series against the Celtics team.
Yeah, we have to keep this in mind. I talked about how I'm sick of missing out on betting when a guy has a baby or his birthday. The Celtics are 0-10 in their last 10 game 2s. So whether it's the Pacers or the Knicks, we need to just slam the team they're playing in game 2 of the next series, and then the finals if they get there.
Damn.
Yeah.
0-10.
Yeah, we need that stat. Damn. That's definitely happening. But Matt, after they lost Game 2 at home, the Celtics, I was sitting there saying, like, I don't really care about this or the East or anything about the East, really, unless it's the Knicks that come out of there. I'll be rooting for them. The West, all that did was sure up for me that the West is winning the championship. Whatever team could come out of the West, I know I've been saying it. I know a lot of people think it. It's just a much stronger conference. But whoever comes out of the West is winning this whole damn thing. If the Celtics are going to lose a home game to the freaking Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round of the NBA playoffs, then Anthony Edwards, Nikola Jokic, I don't care who it is, Chet, Shea, dude, Luka, Kyrie, somebody out of the West is taking them down in Boston. I hope it's a competitive series. I want to see a competitive series, but my lord, the East is just in such a worse. It's not the same competition. It's really not.
Couldn't agree more.
There's a reason LeBron was able to win 9 Eastern Conference finals in a row. I mean, it's been like this for years. I remember growing up as a kid, and the East-West All-Star game was always just a blowout. And I know that's the All-Star game, but just the East is just terrible.
It's the worst it's been in years. I mean, is the Eastern Conference been this bad since the era of Michael Jordan?
The year the Hawks got the 1 seed when LeBron won it was pretty terrible.
That was really bad. Well, that's what I mean. So it hasn't been good since the Michael Jordan era.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Because you had like Jordan, you had those Knicks teams, you had the Pistons, Reggie Miller and the Pacers.
Yeah,
like it's nothing like that anymore.
Yeah, the big rivalries, it's been like LeBron versus the Pacers with Lance Stevenson.
Which was a joke.
LeBron versus the super team Celtics before LeBron's team was any good. And then
LeBron on the Heat, which was like those first couple of years of that Bosh, D-Wade, and LeBron was just like the Heat cakewalking to the finals.
Yeah,
like they never had any fucking competition in the East.
Yeah. Their rivals were whoever they played in the finals, like the Spurs and the Mavs.
Yeah, you had the Pacers, and then you had Carmelo and the Knicks.
Dude, it had to have been the Pacers. Like, as that other big name team in the East during LeBron's time, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it was when it was, Lance Stevenson. They still had Paul George.
Danny Granger.
Roy Hibbert.
Roy Hibbert, yeah.
Who's that? Like Zach Randolph, right?
David West.
David West was there. Zach Randolph was never there, I don't think.
He was on the Grizzlies.
Yeah. Grizzlies.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Randolph.
The Grizzlies have a pretty good team back then.
Yeah, it was like Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, and they had another.
Marcus Gasol.
Marc Gasol, yeah. Marcus Gasol.
They were like always like solid, competitive, like would give you trouble in the second round, but they would never. Like I think one time they got to the conference finals, and that was big, but never really pulled it out. But oh, by the way, Mike Conley doing great things for the T-Wolves. That guy just makes teams better, man.
He's been
around.
That's
what a good point guard does, man.
This could have been my Michael of the week, I guess. He's been around for 17 years. Like, I knew he was old, but 17 years?
Every team he's on, though, like, they're usually good.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a smart player.
Yeah, he's a very smart player. Yeah, you don't play 17 years without being a very high IQ guy.
Right. And he's not lighting up on, scoring 40 points a night, but he's just a good decision-making facilitator. Gets the best out of his players. I mean, that's what a point guard's supposed to be. I
wonder what Mike Conley's career high is. Gotta look it up real quick. I'm gonna say 36.
I mean, being in the league that long.
You don't think he's ever had a
41 outlier game where he's like going crazy?
I don't think he's ever had 40. Oh. You guys want to guess real quick?
I'm gonna go 41.
52.
So I guess this just shows how consistent he's been. He has one 40-point game in his career. So he has gotten to 40 once.
He has he got to 40 once?
Yep, a clean and even 40.
And that was it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, look at Mike Conley, man. Going out there and
I'm sure
he doesn't. Does he have a title? I don't think so. Because he was all those years on the Grizzlies. They were good, competitive, never won. Then he switched up to the Jazz with Donovan Mitchell. Good, competitive, never won. And now he's on the T-Wolves.
Yeah, I think it was just those three.
You know who has? You want to know who I was thinking of the other day that has a ring that didn't really do much to deserve it, but still got one? Jeremy Lin.
His Linsanity run alone, he deserves a ring.
He did deserve a ring for that. He got one with the Raptors.
It was fun to watch. It was a great time. It was cool. It was whatever. He hit some crazy shots.
He had a game winner. He had like 3 game winners.
Yeah, he did some nice things. The guy doesn't deserve a fucking ring for that. Give me a break.
Sure he does. Yeah, he does.
Give me a break. No, all right. No, he doesn't. What? He had a nice stretch. That's like saying Nick Foles deserved a ring back in 2013 when he threw 7 touchdowns against the Raiders, and he was throwing touchdowns week after week like crazy. And they had a nice year.
And then he got a ring.
Yeah, he did get a ring.
Not in 2013.
Well, Lin's wasn't the Linsanity year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nick Foles is better than Jeremy Lin. What can I tell you?
That's a different conversation. You just
that's a good question. That's I don't know if that's a hot take. I think I agree with that take.
Yeah,
I think Nick Foles' run was better than Jeremy Lin's run.
Yeah, but runs we're comparing are there's obviously the Super Bowl run in 2017, but you guys remember that run in 2013, right? When Foles was lighting it up. Riley Cooper was his wide receiver 1.
Yeah, before Riley Cooper came out as a racist.
Yeah. Was he actually? He wasn't actually the wide receiver 1. Wasn't that like the Jeremy Maclin era?
Maclin was on he was starting to get old.
He might have been hurt. There was a year where it was Riley Cooper and then Jason Avant was the guy that was there. But he wasn't. He was he would make a good third down catch, but this guy he wasn't putting up 1,000 yards.
Yeah, their wide receiver room was not good in those years. This is when they drafted.
Eagles were known for having just horrific wide receiver rooms for that's why I appreciate what we have now, because we've had dude, Kevin Curtis was a leading receiver for a while.
Yeah, this had to be around the time Dorial Green Beckham was drafted too.
Dorial Green Beckham was an absolute bust, and the Eagles signed him to be wide receiver 1, and he didn't even make it out of training camp.
Didn't you guys have
Jordan Matthews was drafted to be wide receiver 1, and he's a fucking scrub.
He was good for a year.
He was
Didn't you guys have Alshon Jeffrey? Didn't you guys get him from the Bears for a while?
That wasn't until after.
That was after the Harp. That was when they finally were all right, we cannot develop wide receivers. Just go into free agency and get one.
Well, and what about Deshaun Jackson?
That was before.
That was late 2000s. He was solid, but
his last good years at Eagles.
Guys they had around him were not good. They had that one year where it was Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, LaShawn McCoy with Mike Vick, and that was a nice little
dream team
guys they had going on. But no, that was
that Chip Kelly's offense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they gave him full reins. They fired Howie Roseman, gave Chip Kelly full reins, and he absolutely blew up the entire franchise. And then they fired Chip Kelly after he blew up the franchise, and then rehired Howie Roseman.
Yeah, you had that 80-yard touchdown on Monday Night Football though to Jackson to open up the season. You always have that.
Yeah, and I don't even think Chip Kelly was the head coach for that.
I think it was his first play.
No, it was Andy Reid was still the coach.
Oh, okay. Well then,
against when they played the Redskins on Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Reid was still the coach for that because Reid was still the Dream Team coach. Chip Kelly took over after that because Reid got fired. They called him the Dream Team, this, that, and the third, and they proceeded to go 4-12. And then that's when he got fired, and Chip Kelly took over. They had a decent year, his first year, and then it went completely downhill after that, completely downhill. And how he figured it out, man, started making the right decisions, and the Eagles are back, and Which also a good Michael of the week is, dude, the Eagles don't even like you can still get them with pretty juicy odds to win the Super Bowl. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a top 2, top 3 roster in football. You can roll your eyes, shake your head all you want. That's a top 3 roster in football.
Yeah, well,
it definitely is on paper.
they might win the NFC, but until a Philly team doesn't get second place, I don't think they'll ever win a championship again.
All right. Well, obviously the NBA draft lottery happened, and somehow the Hawks got the number 1 pick. And what seems to be a not so great draft prospect pool coming up. But again, a lot of them are international or G League Unite guys that I don't have a lot of knowledge about. So maybe these are like some absolutely crazy studs who are about to take over the league. But in terms of college basketball, which is what I watch and where I see a lot of prospects from, I don't think they have the first guy coming off the board until pick number 3 going to the Rockets, and that's center Donovan Clingan from Utah or UConn. Other than that, it's all the way down until the next guy's like Rob Dillingham at like 8.
Yeah.
So, national guys or G League guys.
Yeah, I guess I'll call them my Wizards because it's my home team, I guess. But they got they got the 2 pick, and I already know they're going to end up drafting like Reed Shepherd, and then he's going to be horrible just because it seems like a Wizards move.
That does seem like a Wizards move. Yeah, I mean, the Hawks get the number 1 overall pick after having the second worst odds to get the number 1 overall pick entering the lottery. But somehow Atlanta gets it done. They get their number 1 overall pick. The Spurs are the team I want to highlight, though. They get number 4 and number 8. And you already added, obviously, the Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, last year. What are they going to stack around him at 4 and 8? Brian, I'd love to hear what you think. I know you probably know some of these international guys and some of the G League Unite guys a little bit more than me and Matt do. You're always tuned in on the extravagant stories is what I'll call them. So fill us in on some of these players. I want to know what the Spurs are doing and what Atlanta's doing at number 1 overall.
So there's a kid that plays. I mentioned Bryce Cotton when we were kind of jokingly mentioned Bryce Cotton when we were talking about the Cavs possibly needing reinforcements here. But there's a kid down there plays forward. I'm blanking on his name, but he's kind of like a Wembanyama. Now he is not Wembanyama, but he has the big frame, great defender. Doesn't have a great offensive bag right now, but if DeJounte Murray and Trae Young don't kill each other before the next season starts, the Hawks probably have enough offensively. So I could definitely see him going to Atlanta with that 1 pick. And in terms of the Spurs, Matt mentioned Dillingham. That would be filthy to pair him up with Wemby. Because, I mean, Rob doesn't play a lick of defense, but he doesn't really have to when you have 7'4", just brick wall back there. And then at 4, I really don't know where they go there. I wouldn't mind Clingan for him. Clingan and Wemby in the middle would be pretty disgusting.
I think Dillingham makes perfect sense for the Spurs. Like, perfect sense. He's a guy I'd be lining up at 4 or 8. I mean, he's that good. In terms of the Hawks at 1, I think a center makes sense for them, right? Whether it's that Donovan Clean guy or the big the 7'1" guy out of Australia, Alex Sarr.
Yeah, that's the Perth Wildcats guy. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah,
Alex Sarr. I mean, I would go with him at number 1. Then you have Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. If they keep them together, throw Sarr down low, and this guy seems to be the real deal. So they don't need to go and like the Hawks. And again, look, Apple usually doesn't fall far from the tree. We just saw the Falcons absolutely blow up their 8th overall pick in the NBA or NFL draft, picking Michael Penix when they Kirk Cousins millions of dollars. So that pick didn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, a blow-up pick for the Hawks would be to pick somebody like Dillingham or another guard. So I think they need to go center. They already have the guards. I think they can get away with is Sadiq Bey still there, or did he get moved to Detroit?
He's still there. I think he got moved from Detroit too.
He got moved from Detroit. Yeah, so Sadiq Bey, fine player. I think you get Alex Sarr as a big center down low. And get those two all-star quality guards rolling, and might have something to build on. But the Hawks they got a lot more problems to work out.
Yeah, I've been on record as a Clint Capella hater, and that has not stopped yet. So I'm with you guys that they do need a center. Sounds like the star guy might be their move, but yeah, I would love to see them get a big man to actually play some defense, because we know Trae Young doesn't do too much of that for the Hawks.
Yeah, either way, this draft is kind of terrible.
Draft's horrible. I mean, the prospect pool is very low. Zach Edey, who just won College Player of the Year, might not even go in the first round. And again, there's a lot of overseas. Brian, when you step away to grab some water, I asked Jack this question, and I'll see your opinion on it. But do you think Dalton Knecht's going to be any good in the NBA? They have him listed as a top 11 pick right now, going right at number 11 to the Chicago Bulls, which would be kind of horrible because they already have Zach LaVine, and I think they're kind of the same player. LaVine's a little quicker.
Yeah, LaVine, I don't think LaVine's very happy with Chicago right now, so I don't know how much longer he'll stay there. But I guess
major injury issues.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Also, Alonzo Ball is still there.
Yeah, I was going to say Lonzo, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, they're all very similar somewhat in their play style. And I feel like Dalton Knecht would be just another one of them. Doesn't really make too much sense.
I also don't think the Bulls are in a position to say, oh, we have this guy, oh, we have that guy. I mean, these guys have not panned out as far as I'm concerned. And
they've just been hurt, man. They've been hurt. I could be wrong. I know. Look, availability is the best. Whatever. But you need to before saying that these guys aren't going to pan out. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Bulls were the number one team in the East before they had everybody go down. Before Alonzo and LaVine and Caruso, everybody got hurt. I'm pretty sure the Bulls were top two at least in the East.
I do not know the number on that.
I don't think they were ever that far up there, but they were definitely a playoff team.
They were a playoff team, and they were almost where this year. I mean, they were in the play-in. I know that.
They need to get some new ownership. Their ownership is terrible.
Haven't been I mean, dude, Chicago sports right now are just brutal. I don't care what you want to say about the Bears. I'm not worried about them. I don't care. I mean, the White Sox, have they won 10 games yet? I'm not sure.
They've been better. They've definitely been. I think the Marlins overtook them for worst team in the league.
The Cubs are decent.
Cubs are good.
The Blackhawks are what they used to be.
The White Sox are 12-29. But I mean,
way better.
They have that cool milkshake though. With Bedard for the Blackhawks, and now you have Caleb Williams and with the Bears. They got some young guys that are going to be fun to root for coming up.
The White Sox are 8.5 games out of fourth place in their division.
Well, I didn't say they were good. They're not the worst.
6-4 in the last 10.
There you go.
But 8.5 games out of fourth place in your division is pretty ridiculous, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's not great, especially before Memorial Day.
Yeah. Could definitely use a Mets win tonight, though, as the Phillies dropped an extra innings game against the Miami Marlins.
Yep.
But Panthers are up 2-1 against the Bruins, but the game is ongoing right now, and I think the Bruins have a lead.
Yeah, the Bruins are up 2-1 with 4 minutes left in the second period.
So as we watch this, if all were to end, it would be 2-2 going back to Florida, South Florida.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Jack? You think the Panthers are going to pull this out, make it come back?
I do. Yeah. No, game one was brutal. Absolutely got steamrolled by Boston. But games 2 and 3, Florida came back with a punch and steamrolled Boston. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of this series. I'm a little distracted during this pod watching the Panthers game right now. They're down 2-1, but they're playing well and capitalized on a power play opportunity earlier. So excited to see what the rest of this game comes with. This has been a great series so far, and definitely think that it's going to go 7 games.
trending that way.
Yeah, I'll refrain from any takes about the series after I said it would be a sweep.
Thank you, Brian.
Wait, you thought the Bruins were sweeping?
Yeah, he did.
And then the Panthers went out and won 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers are a good team. I'm more concerned of the Avalanche, who I thought was going to win it all. They have, what are they, down 2-1 to the Stars after winning game one? Look, the Avalanche have the Stars in Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon. They just got to figure it out, right? I mean, those guys will show up and they can single-handedly win you a game. But the Stars are a good team, and it's going to take a collective group effort now to win that series. The Stars were a number one seed for a reason. I thought they were going to fraud out, especially in the second round against an Avalanche team who has the experience, has the guys who are already, certified, proven winners. It's going to be an uphill battle the rest of the way. And I remain confident, but don't love being down 2-1 to a team that is considered the best team in the West, being the number one seed.
So what you're saying is the Avalanche have the Stars to beat the Stars.
I am exactly saying that. That's why I said the Avalanche have the Stars.
Exactly what he said.
And Nathan MacKinnon. Because they do. I mean, those two guys can go and win a game. But it's going to now be a bigger group effort being down 2-1 against, as I said, the Stars team who I thought they were going to fraud. Especially, we say Dallas, Cowboys always fraud in the playoffs right down the road there. But looking to show a lot more fight. And, hey, let's not remember or forget, the Stars, they were in a Game 7 against a Vegas team who was very capable of winning that Game 7. So one kick of the puck, flip of the puck, whatever you want to call it, and they could not even be in this situation. So it's always crazy how these playoff series turn out.
Yeah, I'm hoping both of your teams lose as soon as possible.
Well, it's not going to be tonight, Brian. So you got a couple either more days or weeks, hopefully, for Jack and I's sake. But, yeah, I mean, the final one is the Canada series, tied 1-1 with Game 3 tonight. Brian, I mean, this is kind of where you're dialed in now that the Maple Leafs got knocked out and you don't have a future riding anymore.
Yeah, as much as I'm enjoying this series, because I do really want the Cup to come home, I'm really hoping it doesn't go 7, which is what it's trending towards doing. I would like this to be a quicker series, just so whoever comes out of it has the rest. But who knows? Maybe it goes 7 and the winning team just has that much more momentum and can take it all the way to the end.
So who are you pulling for more, Vancouver or Edmonton?
I think Edmonton, just because if Vancouver did win, that would really put some pie in my face after I said a West Coast team would never win another championship.
Well, I just wanted to bring that up because both are basically West Coast, Pacific Northwest out there. I find it funny that you're rooting for teams from that general area because you want to take them home, but you did throw out the take of a team out there. Edmonton's close enough for how crazy of a take you had.
I don't know. I wouldn't include the Jazz, and I feel like Edmonton's not that much further west than Utah.
You're not including Utah?
Why would you not include the Jazz? That's they're right there.
They're in the middle. That's towards the middle. I mean, the coast, the coast.
So
you really just mean Northern California, Oregon, Washington.
Yeah, so Vancouver down to San Diego.
Yeah.
No, down to San Francisco.
No, Brian.
No, San Francisco doesn't count.
Yeah, it's San Francisco doesn't count, but it's from Vancouver down to LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
San Francisco doesn't count. So it's a very hoopty-doopty Brian take.
Yeah, Brian, there's a lot of holes in this. You're building this shit.
No, the premise of the take is it's because Russell Wilson cursed them. So it's a very specific region. It's anyone within a driving distance to whatever it's called now. I don't even. They changed the name.
The center of, I guess, the circle is Seattle.
Yes,
and the radius around it.
Yeah. It's like a pandemic. That's where it started, and then it ranges out to certain diameter.
All right. Well,
interesting. They call that the epicenter.
Yes. That would be what Seattle is, I guess. All right,
You wanna
before we get too far down the
Brian, you want
rabbit
to go at Auburn?
Huh? I've been out of school for a little bit here, man.
before we go back down the rabbit hole, who do you have winning the series, Brian? I know you said you're pulling for the Oilers, but you think they're actually going to get it done?
Yeah,
Not-
Connor McDavid has a couple games in him of wizardry.
It's a great duo with Draisaitl and McDavid, but I still take my boys over in Colorado with Cale Makar and McKinnon as the best duo in the National Hockey League. There you have it.
Go Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers are red hot as well. Hurricanes are fighting back, though. They got to win. Down 3-1.
Those winds calm down up in New York. They won't have the heat will calm down and the wind will calm down. The storm is gonna go down to a category 1.
Bigger than the storm, man. It's crazy. That's wild how that worked out. But yeah, Brian's Chris Christie, bigger than the storm take, and the Rangers are red hot.
Shout out Chris Christie.
Shout out Chris Christie for allowing them to do that. But yeah, I mean, that's the NHL playoffs, man. Hopefully both our teams can stay in it so Brian's rattled. But yeah, let's jump in to some other news. MLB, Paul Skenes, obviously, big debut. Pittsburgh was packed for his first appearance, and all the lifestyle influencer fans trying to get a glimpse of Livy Dune, who was there as well. And it's funny, they said that they found out after they woke up from a nap, and everybody was like, oh, all right, sure, that's what you're doing, taking a nap. So interesting stuff there on if they're doing some funky stuff in the bedroom, and then found out about the big call up where they're actually taking a nap.
That's fire. Yeah, dude. I was watching
Weird
the
time
highlights.
to take a nap, dude. 1 o'clock in the afternoon when you know your MLB call up is imminent.
I mean, look, man. Maybe he was on the mound in the morning, got a bullpen in, got a workout in, needed to take a nap.
Could have just been tired from all the fucking. And that's
Yeah.
why they're napping.
It's probably exactly what it was. But I was watching some of the
speculate
highlights.
on this man's sex life.
I know, right? Is that what we're doing up here in Section 400?
Well, that was what everyone in the comments was doing. I was just reiterating what I saw. But anyway, what do you got, man? You seem like you got a lot on this.
No, I was just gonna say, man. I was watching some of the highlights from his debut. It was great. He was pumping 101 on the fastball, striking guys out. It was a great debut. Everything that you hyped him up to be, he lived up to it.
He seems like, and again, I don't wish it, but dude, he could have a big arm injury. He might have a big arm injury in him, and I hate to say it, but
It's been 1 game in the majors.
just the
Knock
way he
on wood,
throws,
bro.
how hard he throws, like, dude, you see it. It's all, bro. You only have 15 seconds between pitches to go. Like, that puts strain on your arm when you're throwing that fast. I hope it doesn't happen to the guy, but it has been the trend for these flamethrower pitchers in the MLB that have huge shoulder, arm, elbow, whatever, because they're throwing 100 miles an hour and they got to do it every 12 to 15 seconds.
Listen, if he could survive living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for however many years, he can survive the strain of pitching in the major leagues.
It's going to be tough, man. I mean, the guy throws 102. He did love 3 runs as well.
Is that what he maxed out at yesterday? 102?
I think. It was up
That's
there.
awesome.
Maybe not 102, but I feel like I've seen highlights of him hitting 102.
Well, I saw him hitting 101, so I didn't know if he got up higher to 102. Probably did, but that's just awesome, man. Yeah, he's great. Definitely, I'm not going to talk about the injuries, potential injuries. That's never good juju. So we're gonna stay away from that. But great debut for Skenes. Yeah, Libby looked great in stands. So shout out Libby, friend of the pod.
Somebody's got to do it, man. Somebody's got to bring out the tough questions, the tough debates, the tough topics. And that's what I'm here to do. Talk about what people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a friend of the pod she'll be after that segment.
We'll get her on. The only thing I was going to say is I'm wheeling back on the comeback trail. I didn't do an official post, but I did to some close friends give out Cavs money line when they won. So I'm on the comeback train of erasing the McNeese horror. Step one, we're not back yet. We're not gloating about it. And we're not, we're just putting people on notice that we're keeping receipts, keeping the checklist going, and we'll be back in no time.
There you go.
Love to hear it.
That's all I got. Just had to throw that out there. Yeah, I mean, another great show by Brian. Group effort of Views from Section 400. I got nothing else. That's all the stories we got. Make sure you tune into the next one where we get into some winners and losers and react to all the early week playoff coverage of the NHL, the NBA, and whatever else goes down in the world of baseball. Maybe a lot. I don't know. Catch us in the next one. Matt, I got nothing else. Brian and Jack will shut you down.
You are now in the mix with DJ Savage.
Can the Mets win a fucking game, please?
How about a series?